Chosen ones, what I'm about to share may surprise you, even shock you. If you're watching this video right now, it's not by coincidence. God has led you here because something powerful is happening in your life. You are shifting from wanting to having. Yes, you heard me right. The very things you've been praying for, hoping for, and waiting for are no longer just desires on the horizon. They are already moving into your reality. This is more than just a message. This is a confirmation. Chosen one. Everyone was shocked it was you. The enemy didn't see it coming, your family doubted it, and even you questioned your worth at times. But God never hesitated. He set you apart for this moment. So why, then, are you being isolated? Why does it feel like you're walking through life alone, misunderstood, even forgotten? Let me tell you the truth. God's isolation is not rejection. It's redirection. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. God is hiding you because He's preparing you. Before the blessing can be released, the vessel must be made ready. And for the chosen ones, that preparation often comes through separation. You've noticed the silence. You've noticed how it feels like no one understands you anymore. Even when you're in a room full of people, you feel alone. It's not in your head. God is intentionally removing the noise around you so you can hear Him. Because in the noise, it's easy to miss the whisper. And His whisper is what will guide your next move, your next decision, your next transformation. Some of you have been asking, why did they leave me? But what if I told you? They didn't leave you. God removed them. Because not everyone can handle where you're going. Not everyone is equipped to walk beside you in this next season. The truth is, you outgrew their energy. Their mindset couldn't stretch with your vision. And that's okay. Growth often requires distance. Sometimes we think we're being forgotten, when really we're being protected. There are people you cried over who had no business being tied to your destiny. And while you were grieving their absence, heaven was celebrating your freedom. Let that sink in. You're not crazy for feeling different. You're not broken for wanting something more. You are chosen, and chosen ones often walk paths that others don't understand. When you're marked by God, your life doesn't look like everyone else's. The isolation you're experiencing is proof that God is working behind the scenes. Think about it. Jesus Himself went into the wilderness alone for 40 days. Not with a crowd, not with His disciples, alone. And that isolation wasn't a punishment, it was preparation. He was being strengthened, refined, and made ready for the mission ahead. And if Jesus needed isolation to fulfill His purpose, don't be surprised if God does the same with you. That loneliness you feel, that disconnection from the world, it's not because you're weak, it's because you're chosen. God is pulling you away from the distractions, from the opinions, from the chaos of this world. He's creating a space where He can speak to you directly, without interference. You may not see it now, but this season of isolation is a gift. It's where clarity is born. It's where character is forged. It's where God strips away everything that doesn't serve your destiny. The habits, the relationships, the old identity. All of it has to go before you can walk in what God has promised. You see, the calling on your life isn't ordinary, so your process can't be either. While others are celebrated for fitting in, you're being elevated by standing out. While others are chasing crowds, you're being drawn deeper into solitude. Because God isn't just building your platform, He's building your foundation. This isolation is not about punishment, it's about precision. God is fine-tuning your spirit, your hearing, your discernment. He's teaching you to depend on Him in ways you never had to before. He's showing you that He is enough, even when no one else is around. And when the time is right, when your heart is ready, when your spirit is aligned, God will reintroduce you to the world in a way that no one can deny. They won't recognize you at first, because isolation doesn't just change your environment, it changes you. You'll walk different, speak different, think different. And not because you forced it, but because God formed it in you when no one was watching. That's the part most people miss. The breakthrough doesn't happen on the stage. It happens in the shadows. It happens in the quiet nights where you cried out and nobody knew. It happens in the moments you wanted to give up but kept going. It happens in the isolation. Chosen one, you are not being buried. You are being planted. And there's a difference. When something is buried, it's dead and forgotten. But when something is planted, it's hidden for a season, only to rise in due time with power and purpose. This is your season beneath the soil. You might feel hidden now. You might feel overlooked. But what's growing in you is divine. And when it breaks the surface, the world will see what God was doing all along. Keep trusting. Keep believing. The isolation is only temporary, but the transformation it brings will be permanent. That transformation is why the enemy fought so hard to keep you surrounded by noise. He knew if you ever got alone with God, something inside of you would awaken. Your authority, your discernment, your true identity. The moment you became isolated was the moment heaven began your unveiling. And now that you've been set apart, there's no going back to who you were. You can't unsee the truth. You can't unhear the calling. You've tasted the presence of God too deeply to be satisfied with shallow company. What used to entertain you now feels empty. What used to feed your ego now starves your spirit. That's not confusion. That's evolution. God is shifting your appetite because He's preparing your table. You see, when God isolates you, He's not just protecting your peace, He's preserving your power. There are certain things God can only teach you in the wilderness. Things that don't come through applause, but through obedience. Things that don't come from man's approval, but from divine alignment. And when you finally stop resisting the isolation and start embracing it, something changes. You begin to realize that the silence is not empty. It's sacred. It's where you learn to recognize God's voice without needing external confirmation. It's where you start depending on your anointing, not on validation. It's where you move from striving to trusting, from hustling to resting in Him. That's the secret many never unlock. They run from isolation, not realizing it's the very space God uses to refine kings and queens. Look at David. Before the throne, he was alone in the fields. Before the crown, he was isolated with sheep, unseen, forgotten, yet anointed. Look at Joseph, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, locked in a prison. But it was in that isolation that his vision matured. And when the time came, no man could stop what God had appointed. This is your David season. This is your Joseph moment. You may be hidden now, but you're being shaped for something massive. And when the curtain rises, when God lifts the veil, it won't just be for your benefit. It'll be a testimony. People will ask, "Where have you been?" And all you'll be able to say is, "In the secret place, with God." Don't curse the silence. Don't despise the solitude. Don't let the absence of people convince you of the absence of purpose. In fact, the deeper your calling, the more intense your isolation. Because what God is doing in you requires undivided attention. Yes, it hurts to feel alone. Yes, it stings when those you love no longer walk with you. But chosen one, they were part of your story, not your destiny. God allowed them in for a season, but He's removing them for a reason. And if you try to bring old connections into a new season, they'll choke your growth. So let go. Let go of the need to be understood. Let go of the desire to be constantly surrounded. Let go of the idea that isolation means failure. Because in God's kingdom, isolation is often an invitation to become who you really are. You were never meant to blend in. You were called to stand out. And that kind of light cannot be developed in the crowd. It's forged in the fire, in the midnight prayers no one sees, in the journal entries soaked with tears, in the quiet obedience that produces public favor. Chosen one, you are not forgotten. Heaven is not silent. You are being prepared, and when your preparation meets God's perfect timing, everything changes. Your name will be mentioned in rooms you've never entered. Your gifts will make space for you where credentials fall short. Your spirit will carry a weight that cannot be denied. And those who once overlooked you, those who questioned your worth, they will have no choice but to acknowledge the hand of God on your life. Not because you sought revenge, not because you begged for validation, but because you stayed faithful in the quiet, because you trusted the process, because you didn't let isolation steal your identity. Now listen closely. This is not the time to break down. This is the time to break through. Your prayers have not been in vain. Your tears have not gone unnoticed. The warfare was intense because the assignment is massive. God is releasing clarity. He's unlocking doors. He's restoring everything the enemy tried to steal during your isolation. And not only is he restoring it, he's multiplying it. This is your comeback.